Hi, everyone. Today, I want to share some thoughts on a topic I deeply care about, and that's this the societal need to push for equality between men and women. And this is like strictly related to marriage, and a husband and a wife, and what that has done to the foundation of families, and what this has done to marriages in general. And please note, like in the discussion I'm having with you today, I'm speaking about straight men and women in a strictly heterosexual sense. So while equality is essential in areas like respect, worth, and opportunities, I believe the pendulum has swung too far in some aspects. And because of this need to place a husband and wife on equal ground, the result is one that's creating unintended challenges for both sexes. Now, I wouldn't be talking about this today if I wouldn't be witnessing this in my office as a psychotherapist with decades of experiencing working with couples. I've seen the impact that this shift has had on marriages, family dynamics, and especially women's overall happiness. Many women today are feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, and honestly just unfulfilled. Women are choosing divorce, and yeah, they're divorcing their husbands, and or they're delaying or even foregoing having children at all. And I mean, there's commonly I'll ask a woman in a session, what are you wanting, like in your marriage, in your life? And often their answer will be just a sense of peace. They just want peace in their home. So before I go on, I want to clarify something though. I support equality in the sense of mutual respect and shared opportunities. That's not what I'm talking about here. I mean, women have come a long way in society, right? I mean, pay equalization, job opportunities, etc. Women deserve the respect that they've pushed for last few decades, and I'm thrilled that we are achieving that type of respect in society. But we also need to recognize and celebrate the inherent differences between women and men. Like, these differences aren't limitations. These differences are what make our connections richer and more meaningful. And it's what creates the magnetism between a man and a woman. It's it is these gender differences that allows us to be attracted to one another as we are. And if we want to step into, the science part of it a little bit, like neuroscience shows that boys and girls learn, process emotions, and communicate very differently. Men and women also approach tasks. For example, they solve problems differently and they handle emotional pain in very distinct ways. Men often prefer action or physical outlets to display their emotions, while women may turn more towards, gathering with girlfriends and having deep discussions with women in a group setting. And also, at least I know myself, and I think other women too, turn more towards different like acts of solitude. Maybe that's journaling. Maybe that's sitting in deep contemplation a little bit more, or where they might take walks, etc. But quite often it's found through discussion, open, vulnerable discussions with either other women or their therapists, for example. I mean, in general, I see a lot more women in my therapy office than I do for men. And I think it's just very natural for them to use their language to express their hurt. Men, not so much. They're not fond of, coming to therapy, and they're not fond in discussing their relationships openly like that. But my point is that neither approach is better or worse. And I think that's where we run into so much trouble, right? Like we're trying to say one is better or worse, but one is not better or worse. They're simply different. It's that statement, neither that one is better than the other. That's what it's so important for you to understand today. When we try to erase these differences in the name of equality, we lose the natural polarity that fosters connection and magnetism in relationships. As I stated before, this need for equality and balance in the sense that we both need to do everything in the house, like that need can really leave men lost and unsure of their roles, while women become very frustrated trying to change their partners instead of understanding and embracing these differences. So, let me be clear that this is not about accepting harmful behaviors like emotional or physical abuse. I'm not talking about that. It's about recognizing that men and women express and resolve emotions differently. So instead of trying to make everyone the same, let's honor these unique qualities and work together to complement each other. Like sometimes I feel women try to look for things like reasons why they can't be with this person. Like, for example, my flowers in the background, this beautiful bouquet of red roses that I received a couple days ago to celebrate our wedding anniversary. It's 27 years that we're married on the 27th of December. And do I necessarily like red roses? There are other flowers. I mean, they're beautiful, right? But there's other flowers that I think I've shared with my husband that I like even more, or different color of flowers. And I could sulk and I could, I don't know, just sort of like just become frustrated and think, "Oh my goodness, like, I mean, will this man ever listen to me? Does he ever take notice of what I want or what I would love to have? Or, like, is he so shallow or he doesn't give anything any thought or yeah, I could do that. I could go on and sulk in solitude and feel completely dismissed. And it's not that deep, women. It's not. Like, men aren't that deep. I'm sure he woke up in the morning, remembered it was our anniversary, and thought, I'm gonna get her flowers. I know she likes flowers. And that's how deep it goes. So, and I'm 100% fine with that. Like, it's not a big deal for me, right? And I think we have to just love our partners for who they are, not what they necessarily do on a daily basis. It has to be deeper than that, you know? So let me get back to what I was trying to say. You know, the push for equality has made some incredible progress, but it's also created a lot of challenges that we need to address thoughtfully. I mean, I want us to celebrate femininity and masculinity as distinct yet complementary forces that make the relationships and the families thrive. So I'll explore these topics in more depth in future videos, but in the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you, when you reflect on your own relationship, can you see how, this power for equality or this empowerment that women have, celebrated in terms of equality, in the name of equality, has sort of made you, become a little bit more masculine in the relationship, this sort of this micromanaging, after managing your teams at work, are you coming home, excuse me, and trying to manage everything in the home and making everything so equal and, it's like To be honest with you, you're a lot better at some things than he is, and he's a lot better at other things than you are. So, why don't you just allow him to do the things that he's much better at and for you to do the things that you're much better at instead of thinking about shared responsibilities in the home? It's this need to share the responsibilities in the home that's taking him away from what it means for him to be a man. And similarly for you, um, just accept the fact that he's better at certain things than you are. And you don't need to necessarily do those things in order to feel equal in the relationship. So be you, but know that sometimes you aren't like your individualism is not always the best, in the relationship. And when that happens, and when like his own expression of his individual self is not what's best in the relationship, that's when you ask for help. Is to have the awareness of your own self expression perhaps being harmful in a relationship, and then getting help from, your faith, or help from a therapist, or help from a coach, whatever that might be. But yeah, it's first recognizing that, and, while still celebrating what the other person is bringing into your relationship. So, love to hear your perspective in the comments, and thanks for listening.